It is another triple header weekend as Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series all head to the paperclip of Martinsville Speedway. We get you ready from a betting perspective next on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Welcome in. This is going to be a fun episode here tonight. As you can see, I got the Driven sunglasses. Driven, be bold, be different. Got them in the mail here today. Rocking the orange. Let's see, who was it? It was Ben Rhodes. He wore these at Bristol. So rocking them here tonight. Thanks for joining. Again, if you're listening on X, make sure you like, retweet that for everybody listening there. If you're following us right now on YouTube, make sure you drop a comment so we can see. We'll get your all your comments and everything up here. We got the NASCAR Gambling Podcast listening. Got Kyle listening. And we got Troy right now, who I believe Troy is in the gym, if I saw that correctly. So just make sure you drop where you're listening. And again, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And if you're listening on the podcast, on the NASCAR Betting Podcast, YouTube, or I'm sorry, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, welcome in. And let's get into the panel introduction, because I'm fired up for tonight. And Phil just dropped us a little nugget right before we got going. So I think the vibes are high for what we could hear in the next 30 minutes or so. So welcome on, Phil, the Full Tank with Phil podcast. Phil, I was listening to your podcast about 35 minutes in. Can't wait to finish it when I'm done. Dropped this morning. How are you doing, my friend? Sounds like you had a great Richmond.
Had great Richmond. Yeah, things are going well. So we're feeling good. Talking about high vibes. Looking forward to trying to continue it. You know, when you're on that wave, you're not sure when it's gonna crash, but we've been doing good on the pod this year. So anxious to see what Martinsville has, and anxious to talk bets with you guys tonight, because as we'll probably touch on, the books are a little rough again on us as gamblers. So thankful to be able to talk with you guys and everybody in the comments about what we have this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Mark, I'm going to throw it over to you. Skybox NASCAR. You weren't with us last week, but it's all good. You're working. So welcome back this week. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say and how we feeling going into the paperclip.
Muted.
Mark, whenever you got that microphone working, you're away for a week, and then you come back and you do that. I should suspend you for 5 minutes, but I won't. Go ahead.
Indefinite suspension lifted. We're fired up. I hope our bets in the future are as bright as your future with those sunglasses on. So,
you know what? I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I'll say this. I go outside. I see better with this, but you know what? I also see better with these on? The board.
The board.
The board so clearly with these things on.
You want to know what I see clearly is your 2024 Cup Series champion on my dome. Okay, Dennis Hamlin, dog, DAWG. All right,
he is a dog. I agree.
We love Denny Hamlin. We're fired up to be back. Land Coin will drop tonight. No more Friday. YouTube will drop Friday, but audio will be out late tonight. And man, I don't want so much hate on Dennis Hamlin. All right.
Anyway, I'll back you up.
Had a great Richmond up until lap. I don't even know how many laps. 400 laps. 398. And Bubba top 5 out the window. Bubba top 10 out the window. We snuck in a little Reddick top 10 and Truex outright. That hurt the wall a little bit. So ready to fire at Martinsville. A little choo-choo train action this weekend, and ready to rock.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to rock with here tonight. Speaking about rocking, Ryan Stevens, we got you back here for another week. Looking forward to chatting with you. How's everything with you? Wintherace.info. What's cooking, my man?
Good, man. Last week's show was good. That man on Mark's hat right there goes perfect 12 for 12 against Byron at Richmond, so that worked out nice. Logano plus 120 top 10 give it on here. That was never a sweat. And that was also my best value play of the day. So last week was good. Didn't hit a winner, like Mark said, it was tough break. But still up. I think it was up over 3 units, just mainly on props. I wish I put a little more on those, especially the Logano top 10. That just was a dumb line. Hopefully, we can navigate around like Phil was saying. We don't even have top 5s or 10s at Caesars yet. I know, like right before we got on, Greg tweeted out that 365 finally dropped there. So I think things are going to start coming out. But yeah, it's rough now. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say.
Oh, it's very rough. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, I'm glad Richmond's done. I had Josh Berry talked about on the show here at 4 to win to finish top 10. I saw the replay of how he did not finish 10th. I saw how he finished 11th, and it made my heart sink even more so when Reddick and Buescher and Keselowski pretty much got into him on the final lap. So that was a heartbreaker for me. So let's go into rapid fire. I'm looking forward to this segment here tonight, and then we'll dive into kind of what we're doing here. If you're new listening, we go through a bunch of segments. Rapid fire is kind of an icebreaker segment. Get the guys talking here a little bit, understand maybe what we learned last week or how we can apply things going forward. And Phil, I'm going to start with you. I always throw you these, interesting head-to-heads. I'm going to throw another one your way. Who has a better finish on Sunday, Ty Gibbs or Alex Bowman? Whenever you're ready, you're muted.
Yeah, I all I said was, "Oh my God!" You do
That's
always
good.
hit me with those.
I always do.
Brutal. So Ty at Richmond, he's 3 for 3, finishing inside the top 20. Bowman, I think I'll lean Bowman, just because of more experience. He's gotten better finishes. I mean, he's kind of sometimes sneaky good, and I feel like this is a track this weekend in particular. I feel like we might see a little bit more of a Hendrick push there. So I'll go begrudgingly. I'll take Bowman in that one, but yeah, I'm not confident.
You're going to take Bowman. I don't know if you listened to the Top the Pit Box last week, but I asked that question to them directly because I have these two in my lineup. So I was kind of curious if you would maybe sway me to maybe switch out Bowman for Gibbs, but you like the Bowman side this week.
Not,
so Mark,
not for a season-long play. No, I like Gibbs over the season, yeah.
I like that. Okay, so Mark, I'm going to throw one to you. What shitbox do you plan on betting this weekend and why?
I guess it's all subjective what I consider a shit box.
That's exactly it.
That's a great question. I think considering Stewart Haas, I think most of us would consider half their team to be shit boxes at the majority of the races, not necessarily at Martinsville. So while when we think of Stewart Haas, we don't immediately think shit boxes, half of their team the last couple years have been literal shit boxes. So Martinsville, I think, is a little bit different story. I think there's an opportunity to bet SHR. Don't even think about bringing Matt DiBenedetto up. I faded him literally a third of a teacher's salary last week, and we cashed. It was a lot of fun. I don't like fading my guy, but when money talks, when the numbers talk, when you look at equipment, that's a shit box. So I think there's some money to be made with SHR this weekend. Consider it a shit box.
That's probably the best way to make money on your favorite driver that's now back in the Xfinity Series. Bet against him, have him obviously not do well, and it's a thank you, Matt. I knew what you would do. I wish you were in better equipment, but thank you for the money. Ryan, make sure you unmute your mic. But question I have for you here is: should Hamlin have gotten penalized for jumping the restart last week?
I think my favorite tweet about that was from Chris Wormy, who said, if you're going to penalize Denny, then you got to penalize the next 7 or 8 guys for laying back. Yeah. So I think that's what the data showed. I don't care. I mean, I understand why they're mad, the other guys besides Denny, but like beat him out of the pits then. I thought that was a good team win. I don't care if I'm in the minority or not. It's, he gets to hit the gas first. If it's right before the line, fuck it. He won. We got to move on. So I don't know. I like Denny. So, and it's not that I'm a Denny fan, and that's what I'm talking about here. I mean, I just, he owned it. He said, whatever. I got to hit the gas first. I beat you out of the pits. It is what it is.
Here's the deal. You got to understand why Worm said that. I know you're listening, Worm, but he also had Josh Berry. So he's hoping that the next 8 guys, get penalized as well. So Josh goes to victory lane. So you got to understand that. I know where he was thinking there, why he said that. So Phil, I'm going to throw the next one to you. Which would you rather have? A short track with high tire wear and is a strategy type race, limited cautions, or a road course with no cautions and a strategy race?
I'll go short track. That's just my preference. I know the road courses can be fun, but I'm more of a short track fan, and I think we've kind of oversaturated the market with road courses. So give me the short track, the way you put it out.
Basically, Coda or Richmond. So I love Richmond. I know there were so many people hating on that race, and I was like, I love a strategy type race. I love watching something like that, but we're also skewed. Our minds are skewed in a different direction where, we're watching specific drivers on track, but when you start listening to the scanners and you listen to the radio and the broadcast on TV and you're watching some of the metrics, it's so much fun to watch for sure. Mark, next one for you, and this is a perfect line into this. Richmond would make for a better championship race than Phoenix.
I think anything would be better than Phoenix.
Okay.
Even the snooze fest road course race.
Go ahead.
Which, by the way, I feel like there should be like a preface on that question. Am I a fan or am I a gambler? Because like Phil's question. Because if I'm a fan, absolutely short track, high tire wear strategy. If I'm a gambler, it's road course hands down. It's not even close, right? Okay. So, anywhere. Throw it at Coda and have no cautions would be better than whatever bullshit goes on at Phoenix.
Okay, so I like it. I was pushing for, it will never happen, but I was pushing for, man, that'd be so cool. We get Martinsville right before the championship race. Why can't we just go down the road to, go across the street really to Richmond, and let's do a high tire race there. Make it at night. So, Phil, next one for you, a truck series driver you got your eye on heading into Friday.
Well, I think you skipped our boy.
I did.
Ryan. You just want to go to me? You don't want to ask Ryan that question?
We're just gonna act like I didn't do that. We're gonna act like this was purposed.
Okay. So outside of like the top names, I think I'll throw 2 quick ones at you. Lane Riggs, short track guy. We'll take a look at his odds when they kind of really come out and see what he's matched up against, and then also my boy William Sawalch back in the race in the one truck. We got to give him a proper look here and see what he's looking like with the odds. But those are the 2 guys that I wanted to peep what their odds were when all the books kind of dropped everything.
I'm looking forward to doing the Truck Series podcast with you. And if anybody's listening, make sure you download the NASCAR Betting Preview Show podcast. Phil and I do a Truck Series pod every week they race. So looking forward to breaking down a Friday night race at Martinsville. Ryan, question for you. Better finish on Sunday, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace.
Oh man, that one's tough.
See, let me lay the matchups out there.
I'm gonna say Bubba. Just based on I think what we saw last week. It's so hard with Bubba because I think like what he showed last week was really strong, but he's just always finds a way, it seems like lately, to have a terrible finish. It's just I don't know. But Reddick is not good here by any means. So as much as I, like Toyota, I'll just take the Toyota that I thought looked much better, more recently, which was last week. So give me Bubba.
Okay, Bubba, that team continues to make good strides week in and week out. Mark, question for you. Xfinity driver you look to bet this weekend.
Anybody matched up against Matt DiBenedetto? No, I'm just kidding. I'm looking at, I look at a little Sammy Smith, top of the power rankings with Zach. I tweeted out about 2 hours ago. Oh shit, here we go again in reference to me betting Justin Allgaier every week. He's second in the power rankings, and they got him 7-1 on Hard Rock. And I'm just gonna keep doing it. Like, I don't know what to tell anybody that either takes my picks, looks at them, critiques them, hates them. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna keep betting Justin Allgaier. Almirola's favorite, but not sold on him. Not betting him 3.5 to 1, 325, whatever Hard Rock's got him at. However, I do like a little Allgaier top 5 plus 120, a little Sammy Smith top 5 plus 150. Those 2 guys early in the week, going to talk about them tonight on Landcoin. Those bets have been placed.
Okay. What about SVG over Matty D?
I'll take like minus 350 against Matt. I don't care who it is. Well, I do, but yeah, I'm willing.
Well, it's minus 180. So, okay.
I'm down.
Just hang tight. I got another question coming to you. Ryan, I got one for you here. Better finish on Sunday, Colleague or Rick Ware? This is on Caesars.
Don't answer that.
Oh, it is. I don't.
Don't answer
Don't
that.
answer that. All right, don't answer that.
All right, yeah. Okay, that's the teaser. I got you.
Don't answer that.
Let's go.
Okay. I like that we found it. All right, Phil. Before we get to you with Ride or Fade, Mark. Last question for you. I'll let you close this out. Rapid fire here. Monday morning headline reads what?
Brad Keselowski wins first race as owner.
Ooh, Brad K going to victory lane.
Hello.
Ooh, what the storylines would be. Look at that. There is a solar eclipse coming if that happens. Okay, so let's go to Ride or Fade, and this is our head-to-head segment of the conversation. Each guy gets to go say what their favorite head-to-head on the board is, and then the guys that have not shared will say, are they riding that? Are they fading that? And my man, Phil, you are going up first. Hit us with this. I'm excited.
Well, I told these guys, I walked into the conversation before the show started, and they were talking about ship boxes. And I said, well, if you guys want to talk ship boxes, I got one for you. And the reason I even looked into this was because I'm finding the head-to-head market, it's a struggle bus this week to really find value. I mean, if you're seeing guys that you like, they're like minus 290, like the books, and then you have matchups that are just like too tough to call, especially this early in the week. So I was looking through trying to get creative, and you touched on it. I last week I had a bunch of over-unders for the Caesars finishing props, and I took guys to finish like over 23 and a half, over 20. And I had an absolute blast following those guys back in the pack because it was the best. So that's why this one caught my eyes, because I want to do that again. Rick Ware Racing versus Colleague Racing. Who's going to have the better finishing car? This is absolute garbage. This is as shit as shitbox can get. And I'll tell you right now, I'm taking Rick Ware Racing minus 125 over Colleague. And this is 100% a fade of Colleague. They are just, they're not even dead in the water. They're like chum for the other like sharks to come and just like scoop up. And, you know, it's just dismal. Now, the scary thing is, if you are trying to dig into the stats a little bit, Haley, 6 starts, his best finish. And what it really breaks down to is Hemrick versus Haley. Because Josh Williams and Kaz Grala, you know, if any of them do anything, that's a pleasant surprise for anybody who cares about this. But if you break it down, Haley versus Hemrick, which is essentially what it is, Haley 30.5 average finish, not great, but it was in that Colleague car. And so not that Rick Ware's any better, but, you know, we'll get to their speed this year. Hemrick has a 17th place finish, but it was all the way back his last race in 2019, I saw. So that's like apples to oranges. Who gives a shit about that? The only real thing you can go off of is this year's just total speed, the green flag speed for these cars this year. And it is staggering to see the 2 Colleague cars, that whoever's in the 16 rotating and Hemrick, are 35 and 35th in total speed. Just dismal. Out.
That's terrible.
Just crazy. Haley, for his part, is 25th. So pretty good advantage as far as just like outright speed off the truck and what they're showing in the track. The finishes, you know, they're negligible, I guess. But in this particular track, I'm going Rick Ware Racing, and we're going to have fun watching some cars trying to be like, God damn it, he's 7 laps down. Oh, I need him to be 6 laps down. So that's where we're going to be. And hopefully we can cash that one.
Well,
so that's the teaser, and hopefully it
you're right.
You know.
That is a good one to kick off. What do you think, Mark? You going Rick Ware, or you going the 3 drivers at Colleague?
There's a saying we like to say down here at Oceanside Cleaners, and that's fail forward fast. And that is what I did, fading Rick Ware Racing with Colleague Racing about a month ago.
Yeah.
Never again. All right. The 51 is, the kid likes to dance. I mean, 25th in green flag speed. I understand we've had some super speedways, but really good car at Coda. Have no idea what he did last week at Richmond. But I did see someone had a few people had a boatload of him in DFS starting last. Anyway, I think he had some problems. Anyway, I'm riding. Fuck colleague. I don't care. I don't care what they got. I don't know what they got going. They got like they are Rick Ware Racing now, so they stink. Give me Rick Ware. I can't believe I just said that.
I hope people listening to this are just hammering this on Caesars right now.
It's minus 145 now for what it's worth.
Oh, is it?
Okay. So
maybe
so it is moving.
Yeah.
Look at that. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I ride. And then what happened to Haley last week is Haley was top 25 in our practice model. So I was one of the ones that fucking smashed him in DFS. And he was one of the ones that died on Kyle Busch's Phantom Caution. So he was on the one-stop strategy, got stuck a couple laps down. You can't recover from that there because it's just a green race, the rest of the way. So, but we do incident adjusted speed at the end of the race too, top 25. So, I mean, he, like you said, Mark, he likes to dance. So, I mean, he's driving the shit out of that thing, and I don't know where it's coming from, but yeah, I'm gonna hope that a lot of people are chasing those box scores on DFS because I'm gonna probably look to play him again, and hopefully he doesn't get caught on some shit strategy again and get a bad finish.
Well, there's no way this ends poorly. This is going to be the ESPN
what could go wrong?
This could be the ESPN game day highlight that everybody's hoping for, but it's a clean sweep for Rick Ware Racing. So I'm going to go Rick Ware there. And we'll see what happens on the track on Sunday. So, Mark, kicking it over to you, please tell me you got something just as good as what we just talked about there with Rick Ware and colleague.
No, nothing will top that shitbox. But I do have, I see some comments. I feel like I've said this recently, but everyone likes to come on Tuesday, Wednesday. God, the odds are shit this week. Oh, the odds stink. I get it. Like, at first glance, you're like, don't love it. Well, dig a little deeper. All right. Yeah, I get it though. You don't love anything. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. However, I think the matchup market, I think there's one out there floating. All right. We're going Bubba Wallace minus 130 versus Alex Bowman. That's on Caesars, still available. Oh. Now, let me start by saying we are in for another choo-choo train, which I referenced earlier. Unless global warming decides to become a real thing in the next 72 hours. It's going to be chilly, all right? Nothing's going to change from the last few Martinsville races. Yep. So take whatever data you want, shove it up your rear end, and I'm going to spit it out of my mouth right now.
Love it.
This is a gambling show, though, of course, right? Bubba Wallace literally has Alex Bowman covered in like every stat you can think of. In the next-gen car, absolutely. And the only thing that Bowman has over Bubba is that one win that he hacked into a few years ago. I looked at 9 comp track races, not tracks. And
I was going to say, holy crap. Where are we going?
New Hampshire, the last 2 Richmond races, so last week and the fall, and then 4 Martinsville races that we've had here. So Zach, Highline Betting, came up with that. I don't put any thought into it. I just trust the guy. Power rankings, we'll start there. Bubba's 12th. Bowman, 24th. Now, we could stop there. Whenever there's that big of a discrepancy, the Metri scores off by like 10 numbers, we could just stop there. I don't need any more explanation. We'll keep going. So aside from Phoenix 1 and the very first Martinsville next-gen race, Bubba's worst NLD speed was at any of the 9 comp track races was 13th in New Hampshire. And his average across the whole 9 races is 12.3. And that includes the 2 bad performances of those 2 races I just referenced. Alex Bowman's best NLD speed in those 9 races is 13th. Now, he only did 8 races because he broke his back. His best NLD speed is 13th, okay, with an average of 19.6. And that number is average from 1 to 36, right? So he's worse than half, or I guess right at half. If we want to talk finishes, at Martinsville, Bubba Wallace 11.25, and then all 9 races combined 11.55. Bowman at Martinsville 18.3 in the 4 next gen races, and 17.6 when you get all the other 8. Average running position, Bubba 12.01. That's good for 5th best in the Cup Series. Bowman 18th, 18.25. That's terrible. And I understand choo-choo train. You can't pass. I get it. He may have had a better car. If he got some track position, fine. I get your argument, but I got to base my bet off something.
Right.
If you really want me to drive the point home, Bowman has a worse NLD speed at Martinsville in the next gen car than Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, and Austin Dillon. Dog shit. So I understand minus 130, not ideal, especially before practice and qualifying. I understand. But the only stat that Bowman has over Bubba was 3 years ago, and he hacked into a win. So I think Bubba's going to show up. He was really fast last week, and he's going to be an 8th to 12th place car, and Bowman could be a 25th place car for all we know. So give me some Bubba minus 130 on Caesars.
Okay, so Bubba minus 130 after you gave us all those stats. Thank you very much for that. Ryan, are you going to ride or fade that?
Yeah, I'll totally ride with that.
Right.
In my pre-practice and qualifying ranks, I don't have Bubba and Bowman as that far of a gap, but I do have a comfortable enough gap here to ride with it. And then, like the true average running position at all Martinsville races over the last 2 years. So those 4 races, Bubba's running over 5 spots higher on average. I don't think this is particularly close. And Bubba, last time we saw qualifying here last year, he made the final round both times. Bowman couldn't crack the top 20. So if it is just going to be a boring ass race like last week, they just kind of get to their point where, speed kind of evens out, the tires all wear out the same, and there's really no comers and goers, then I like the guy who might qualify with some better track position. So, and I just love the way, Toyota's looked, obviously. So give me Bubba.
So you give you Bubba. Mark, look what you're doing here. You got Troy saying he was kind of high on Bubba, maybe not anymore. Good stuff. Chris is saying, okay, I can buy that explanation there, Marcus. Phil, how about you? Are you riding or are you fading?
No, I am riding. I'm kind of in Troy's camp there a little bit. Bowman just kind of scares me because when he jumps into it, it's like out of the blue. But if you're looking for consistency, Mark laid out all the stats. For me, I like these types of head-to-heads. I like seeing like top 20s. Bubba's 4 for 4 finishing the top 20 in the next gen car. That's a 50% hit rate for Bowman. That's not good. Last 10 races, Bubba only has 2 finishes outside the top 20. Meanwhile, Bowman has 3 finishes of 30 or worse. So I can dig it. So I'll ride.
Okay, so you're gonna ride. I don't know what this is gonna do, but let's see. All right, I don't know. I was trying to see if there's like a celebratory clap that I could find here on StreamYard. There wasn't. So I'm riding with that as well. I'll keep working on it. Maybe I'll find something. But I'm gonna ride with that as well. So another clean sweep. So anybody that's brand new listening to the show is just like these knuckleheads. They just agree with each other. That's all they do. So Ryan, give us a head-to-head. What'd you find? Let's see if we can maybe have some conversation here, or maybe we're all riding together. So what you got?
No, I think this one will bring in some good conversation because this is more of a number type play. Last week I gave the minus 150 Denny over Byron. I'm going the complete opposite way this week, and I'm going to take Gragson plus 165 over Briscoe. And I know Briscoe has been great here. Like, there's nothing I can say, bad about him really. But what I will say is this year, it is a new package, and although the drivers say, there's not much of a difference, we still have to pay attention to how they're running this year. And at Phoenix and at Richmond, I have Gragson with a better true performance than Briscoe on both tracks. And I really kind of throw out Gragson's older runs here. He did have one run in a Hendrick car, but I feel like this team is pretty comfortable this year. I mean, they're doing really well. He's not only beat Briscoe in true performance at both the races in this package, but he's also qualified better than him. So I know Briscoe's been like an elite Martinsville qualifier, but so was Almirola with this 10 team. And I'm not saying Gragson's Almirola, but Gragson is really, really good at Martinsville. He had like 4 top 5s in his 5 races here in Xfinity and even won a race. Ty Gibbs was in that race. He beat him. So it's not like he hasn't raced good competition and won here. And now he has a real team behind him. So I don't know, just the number. He'd only have to win this matchup 39% of the time for it to make sense. So I'll take the plus 165. There's just so much that can happen here, whether it be strategy wise or he just flat out beats him anyways. So I'll take the plus 165 as just straight up number play. Our Sims have it fair at plus 140.
Where'd you find that play at?
That was on DraftKings.
Okay, perfect. So looks like Brian here says that he got that at plus 185. So don't hate that at all either. I'm actually right. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, sorry. I like what Troy said too, is like Gregson's still just so young. Like raw talent wise, are we to say Gregson's not going to be better than Eric Almirola in his full career? You know, he very well could be. So I don't know. We all know, like Mark said earlier, SHR brings it here. So
Yeah.
if we're talking equal equipment for these guys,
Yeah.
you know, maybe Gregson's better than Briscoe. So I don't know. So we'll find out. But he's only got to win 39% of the time. I liked it.
I think Briscoe's just waiting to get into a Honda Civic. So what says you, Phil?
I'm actually on the other side of this one. You know, I hear those points, and I guess like the number is a big factor. I get it. I just think, you know, I talked about this one on the podcast, that the number, if you're going to take Briscoe, it's ridiculous to take it straight up. I threw it into another ridiculous favorite matchup to get a little better number for a 2-spot parlay. Briscoe, it's like when he's good at a racetrack, he is just consistently good. Stewart Haas Racing, like if I lose this head-to-head matchup, great. You know what I mean? It's making Gregson go out and prove it. And if he proves it, then I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, like Barry, I think it was last week. Yeah. Great. You know, now he's in the camp of somebody that I can bet more consistently. I hear all the points about Almirola, the 10 car, true, but he's got to go out and get it done. And Briscoe, I mean, I was going to talk about him in the next segment potentially, but a top 10 is a bet that I like as well. Plus 100. He's 4 for 4 in the next gen car. It's just so consistent. So if Gregson's if he's going to beat him, he's really got to be on his game in this early part of his career.
Yeah, look at what the 10 car did. If you watch the fall race here, and it makes a little bit more sense why maybe the 10 is doing a little bit better this year. Yes, Gregson is a talented driver, but that 10 did have some speed last year in spots, definitely qualifying in practice at times, and didn't always transition to the race. But I like the 10 here. I like Gregson over Briscoe. I'm glad Mark got my little joke there about Honda Civics. And where are we going, Mark?
I thought that was pretty funny.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to play the political game here again. So I'm also on Briscoe. I'm going to talk about him later tonight in the next segment. Very close.
Okay.
But like Phil said, you can't bet Briscoe with these numbers. You just can't. And then I see what Worm has to say. If Briscoe qualifies well, as what Ryan pointed out, man, I'm hitting all the points, naming everybody. How political is that? Come on, guys. If Briscoe does what he's done historically here, that number is going to get better by race time. The points about Gregson and the 10 car, extremely valid. But if I was getting even money, minus 120, minus 130, I'd slam the shit out of Briscoe here. And I see Ryan's point of, listen, this is a numbers play. I'm feeling good about it. Minus 165. He's got all the analytical data shit that tells him plus 140. We were talking about it earlier. I still have no idea what it means, but I trust him. So, yeah, I mean, it's not something that I would play. So I'm going to say that I will ride because I like plus money bets and I like matchups and I like plus money matchups. But I'm just not in the position to fade Briscoe.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, I like that. So Phil's going with the Briscoe. Sounds like we'll be diving in a little bit more to Briscoe here in the next segment, which is our position props. So let's just dive right into those. Mark, I'm going to let you kick this one off. Where are we going, my man?
We might as well just stay on the Briscoe trade, huh?
Stay there.
Okay, so like when I'm doing my research, I like, wow, look at those things.
I'm listening.
Golly. I mean, I don't know how you can see me, but I'm sure you
Driven sunglasses.
God.
Appreciate it. Be bold, be different.
When I do my prep work, I like to line shop a little bit. Not as crazy as like Ryan or Phil or some of these guys out there. I don't, because like I'm limited down here in Florida. So if I find a huge discrepancy, I know there's a lot of people out there that have access to tons of books, so I'll talk about them, like the matchup on Caesars. Hard Rock, the only book that I have available, had top 10 odds like yesterday morning, which was super cool. And then I like Caesars always has top 10s. Bet365 always had nothing. They had top 3. Right. So I felt a little good down here in this great state of Florida. So I took Chase Briscoe, top 10, minus 125 on Hard Rock Sportsbook. I have no idea what the line is now. I can't imagine it's moved that much. And I know what you're probably thinking. Like, oh, let's bet Briscoe this week. He's been really good. He's a short track flat Oh God, here we go again.
Try again. Take two.
Short flat track guy, SHR. We've been talking about it. There's going to be a lot of buzz around SHR this week. I get it, but the numbers back it up. People lie, numbers don't. Briscoe is him.
Ooh.
At Martinsville. Briscoe's him. All right. So he's finished in the top 10 in all 4 Martinsville races. Average running position of 9.2. In the 9 comp races, 7 times in the top 10. Finished 7 times out of 9 in the top 10 at the 9 comp track races. Now I'm just really trying to mindfuck people with the numbers. He's 6th in the power rankings, and an NLD speed through the 4 Martinsville races, 3rd best in the Cup Series. So he also has an average finish. Like, it's one thing to say he's finished in this top 10, 7 out of 9 comp tracks. His average finish is 10.49. So he is a short flat track guy. Minus 125 for a top 10 does not make sense here. And I think the reason why it's so low or high, why it's at minus 125, is because I think the books are still a little hesitant on SHR. Now, what Phil said earlier, Barry's kind of in there a little bit, albeit, last year's Richmond finish was all pit strategy. And, this year he had actually a worse finish than how fast his car was. But my point being is I don't think this number is going to be available after practice and qualifying. So if you're going to bet Briscoe, you got to bet him before practice and qualifying, minus 125. I probably wouldn't bet this any more than like minus 130, minus 135 if you're really feeling scrumptious. But just to wrap it all up, we know how, Priest was good. Well, he sat on the pole. He got I can't think of a better word than fuck. He got fucked by a stage or a caution. Throw in the back. You can't pass at Martinsville. We've seen how good Almirola was last year in the fall. So SHR, they've got, if there's one track that they show up on, it's Martinsville. So Phoenix, Martinsville, New Hampshire, short flat tracks, Stewart Haas. So give me a little Briscoe top 10 minus 125 action.
Okay, so I'm glad that we transitioned into the Briscoe conversation. So thank you for that again. Ryan, how about you?
This one is tough because I do like top 10s a lot. And like we mentioned, there are none on Caesars. FanDuel didn't drop any top 10s. So it's been pretty rough. This one too, I will mention too, if anyone's allowed to get any money down on Rivers, Briscoe's plus 100 for a top 10 there.
Time out. The Bet Rivers 200. Did anybody see that tweet? Tweet of the year.
Awesome.
Yes.
Tweet of the year.
That was a great tweet.
Hands down, tweet of the year.
Did you
Go
see
ahead.
that, Phil?
No, I didn't see that.
Mark, tell him.
It's the Bet Rivers 200. They're going to run 20 miles, and they're going to see about the final 180.
We'll send the 180 for approval.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So if anyone can get down there, Briscoe top 10 is plus 100, which I do, I had that. I'm taking the Gragson number just because it was plus 165, but Briscoe top 10 obviously is a strong bet. So Logano, same book, but also on 365. That's how Greg posted in our Discord right before we started here. You got to lay some shit down here. It's minus 155 for a top 10, but Joey Logano brought it last week. I don't mind paying the juice on something like this. Dude's, finished top 10 and he's 9 of his last 10 races here. And when he didn't too, he led a couple laps. He was top 10 in both stages. So he's just equally, if not more consistent here than he is last week when I absolutely loved him for a top 10. So it's not the plus 120 we had last week, but minus 155 for a Joey Logano top 10 here. I just think that line is pretty terrible. And if you shop it around too, I think he's like minus 250 places for a top 10. So it just seems like it's way off. And he never qualifies well. Like the last 4 times, I think he's qualified 15th or right around there. And I'm just not worried about that. He's someone that knows the strategy game, knows how to finish well here. And the way he ran last week is very encouraging to see. So yeah, let's go Logano minus 155 top 10.
Yeah, and like you said, the last 6 races here, it's finished 5.2, so not too bad there. What about you, Phil?
I agree with all that stuff. I love Logano. I think you could take the Logano ladder this week, honestly. But we'll go a different direction. We're talking about guys we like, guys who like this racetrack. We're going to go a different direction and talk about someone who is not good at this racetrack. Caesars, finishing position prop. Get it now because they take it away, practice and qualifying. It does not come back up. This opened at 9.5 over under, and I'm taking now it's up to 10.5.
Okay.
I'm taking over 10.5, not to finish in the top 10 for Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, there's something about racetracks where you can see it. Guys just don't get along with it or whatever. And we saw that last week with Ryan Blaney. Blaney has been on record saying, like, Richmond just doesn't treat me well. Started decent and then just dropped like a rock. He just can't get around that joint. I think we're seeing a similar symptom here with Reddick. 8 career starts. He has 1 top 10 finish. That was an 8th place finish in 2021. Just hasn't been his track. Next gen numbers. He's got 1 top 20. Was an 18th place finish in the 4 next gen starts. That's staggering to me.
Yeah.
25.5 is his average finish. 19th. So Ryan, iFantasy Race has the green flag speed or the total speed numbers at the 4 Martinsville races, and he's 19th in just general speed at this racetrack. So it's every metric that you're looking at is pointing to, he's not the guy. And I'm started before I saw this finishing position prop looking at, like, how can I fade him in a matchup? How can I get against him? He's going up against Berry, I think, somewhere. It might have been Caesars.
Ooh.
That's interesting to me just because of what we've been talking about with Stuart Haas. But at the end of the day, I'm going over 10.5, and it's even money. I actually got it at 9.5, but since we're on the show tonight, I'd still take it. He's not going to finish in the top 10. That's my prediction.
Okay, so Reddick is not going to finish in the top 10, you said. They're always like hearing those bets from you. So
hold on, I want to answer Seth. First of all, I love Tino's
yeah, I'm gonna pop that back.
I gotta go look at that when I'm done talking here. But Seth, it's a good question. So because I struggle with this, Jim Sanis hooked me up with this last time he was on. When you're on Caesars and you see the outrights, the name of the race where it says like Cookout 400, whatever, is clickable. So you click that, and it brings you to like a whole nother UI where you can see finishing position, and it's tricky, but they will bring it down pretty quickly. And yeah, as Ryan said, some states don't even offer it, but I've been having a blast with those, and I feel like this is an advantage this week there.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I know there's going to be a lot of people curious out there how to find that. So let's move into the outright market now, presented by Victory Fuel, drinkvictory.com, promo code FRONTSTRETCH, FRONTSTRETCH. And Ryan, who's going to Victory Lane this weekend?
Oh man, I'm gonna go back to Christopher Bell 9-1 on MGM. Kind of a number play here too. I just think if he can qualify well, which has just been a little bugaboo of his recently, I think he could run away with it. I just think this guy in this package, he spent more time in this package than anyone, testing it out, dominated Phoenix as we saw, won by 5 seconds, best car at Coda in this package. Arguably him and Byron, I'll say that, but Bell would have won that race with half a more lap to go, or a little more help from Gibbs. Last week, he buries himself starting 29th, had some issues too, but each time he can just fight back through the field and get himself back up to the top. I just think he's so strong right now. And the thing about his win earlier this year, he didn't have a top 5 finish at Phoenix until he went out there and dominated and won it. So, like, he's just a different breed right now. I don't care if he's, like, not a Martinsville guy. He wasn't a Phoenix guy either. This Toyota team is just running hot right now. And I think, and plus, we have seen him go out, dominate a race, and win at Martinsville. And the weather this week will be similar to when he did that. It was a fall race, but still 60 degrees, middle of the day this week. Sunday is going to be 60 degrees out. I don't see much of a difference there. It gets cold in Martinsville, I think, for the other races, the night races, but on Sunday it shouldn't be any different. So yeah, I don't know. Give me Christopher Bell. I think week in and week out, he's looking really strong, and his crew, pit crew, has popped some weeks too. He's had some down weeks, but they also have a couple. They have one number 1 week in my ranks, and then another one that's top 5. So if they get him some fast stops and he can gain some ground, they look out for Bell. And I love 9-1.
Bell hurt me last week. I got him at a little over 8-1 mid race. I was happy about it, and then as soon as I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna really work out," he had a pit issue. So thanks a lot, Bill. Once again, Phil, how about you?
Yeah, I know we mentioned Logano. I'm gonna talk about his teammate.
Austin
right now,
Cindric?
that was a good one.
Quick.
That's quick hosting skills right there. Well done.
Quick.
We're gonna go with his other teammate in the 12 car. He was 750. Now he's down to, I think, 725 at MGM is the best number you can get him at. But Blaney, to me, I know it's great what we're seeing with Logano, and he is somebody to have on your card in some capacity. I like the way Ryan played him. But I mentioned, looking at Fords, Blaney is just like the top guy on so many different numbers, depending on like what you're looking at. If it's the last 10 at Martinsville, he's top in average finish 5.0. Driver rating is first in that category. And then looking at next gen, he's been the guy here. 3.8 is his average finish, 109.9 is his driver rating, fastest as far as green flag speed at this racetrack. And the fact that he's not, and he proved that he could do it last year, snapped that winless streak for Ford at Martinsville. This is someone who I would have expected to see actually a little bit. I know Ryan's good at telling us like what they should be priced at.
Right.
But to me, Blaney is, feels like we're, when we see Denny going off at like plus 450, I feel like that's a bit of a good number there for someone who has all these numbers on his resume. So, I mean, just, one win, 3 top 5s, 4 for 4 top 10s. Logano and Briscoe are the only ones that can even say that. So just good number there for Blaney. And, coming off of that down week, the fact that they're close to home, I think they're going to really kind of regroup quickly here and go to now a track that they really are good at and pounds on the competition. So that's where I'm going here in the outrights.
So you're going to go Ryan Blaney there. It's funny. I think you guys would agree, right? Like we remember our losses more than we remember our wins when it comes to betting. I think we would all agree. I had Ryan Blaney top 10 when the books mispriced him a couple years ago. I want to say it was like 2021 or 2022 for a lot. And he finished 11th. So now, I mean, he went back on this serious roll. So Ryan Blaney, like him, very fast in the fall. Obviously, they got so hot, and he needs a good run. He needs to have a good run here again, and this is a good track for him. Mark, what about yourself?
Brad Keselowski.
There you go.
You like that. You like that.
You
Mr.
like that.
Owner. Yeah, you like that. Kirk Cousins, dog. I love everything that Brad's doing with RFK. The speed, the wins, except for him, the social media, the podcast they got going, the Chrome numbers, the sponsors, the marketing. I'm all about it. Everything they got. This is a completely different team than 2-3 years ago, Roush. Okay, this is a fun team. This is a team that will win going forward. And Brad Keselowski wins at Martinsville, 16-1, Hard Rock Sportsbook. Now the numbers, they're not going to look ideal.
Okay.
To bet an outright, okay? But you just got to bear with me here for a second. At Martinsville, if you look at finishes, not great. Last year in the fall, he was running inside the top 5 for over half the race, finished 5th in both stages until Logano decided to spin Tyrone Giblets, and Brad said, let me stuff my nose in there. He had quite the speed that day, but DNF'd. If you want to look back at his career, there was a 14-race span from 2015 to 2021 where he finished top 5 in 11 races. That's absurd. He had a DNF and a 10th being the 2 of the times he didn't finish in the top 5. Kid, he ain't no kid. Adult knows how to, owner knows how to find his way. Man knows how to find his way around Martinsville. His most recent good finish, you take away the DQ, was the Melon Man race. He finished 4th, but on the stat sheet, it's 36, but it's really 4th. So if you take that into consideration and you look at the 9 comp races that our boy Zach has compiled together for us, he's 6th best in average running position. He's 4th best in NLD speed with finishes of 4th, 5th, 6th, 4th, and 8th, 2 dog shit runs, and then a DNF last year at Martinsville late. So the guy, they've got speed. Busher won at Richmond last year. Speed came out of nowhere, right? But Brad has had some good runs on short flats. It's another Ford that shows up on short flats. I'm betting Fords this week. Newsflash. I love Fords first on race day, but Brad Keselowski 16-1. Feel pretty good about it, honestly. I'm like Seth. All I read is the first line. I'm sick of betting Brad outright. Welcome to the fucking club. All right. I'm not going to miss out on Brad's first win. 16-1. I'm not going to bet him every week, but this is one of the weeks to do it. Super Speedway are here, so we're doing it here. 16-1.
Okay, so 16-1. Interesting head-to-head on Caesars, because you've been talking about SHR a little bit. Got an RFK versus SHR. RFK is the underdog.
I want no part.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, you just brought them both up, so I was
I'd
like,
still
okay,
probably take SHR.
Okay, that felt like a mark, a perfect one for you there. So
it's like Phil earlier in the show was like they're either juiced up minus 250 or they're like real tough. That's a real tough one for me.
Okay, so that's real tough. I like it. All right, so then let's move into our best value, best bet market. Let's see what you guys have to say. Phil, I'm going to let you kick it off. What'd you find for us? Tell me it's another shit box.
No, I don't think you guys think it's a shit box. I think we're trying to take advantage of a couple shit boxes here, but from what I'm throwing out here, I think people might be interested in this.
Okay.
I'll say that. Group D on DraftKings. We're seeing two guys who I feel like are just not, maybe they don't even show up this week to the racetrack. Kyle Busch is the favorite in this group, and he is dog shit this year. He's dog shit at this track in the next gen era. And I don't know why they're pricing him as the favorite. I guess this is name only situation. And then another guy in this matchup is Daniel Suarez. I'm not scared of him whatsoever. So then you got two teammates, and from the sound of it, a lot of guys like Noah Gragson. He's plus 250, so that might be interesting to you. I was throwing a half a unit on Ryan Preece at plus 380, I think it is now. And the explanation there is going back to the whole Briscoe versus Gragson thing. Like Gragson, I just don't see it. I need to prove it, or he needs to prove it for me to really get behind it. Whereas Preece, I see him as someone that, he's done it before last year, 15th, 20th, taking Gragson out of it just to kind of prove that he is worth a look here. He was undefeated against Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez last year at Martinsville, and undefeated against Gragson. So 5-0 in the two races, but Gragson was in the 42 in that race. So the point being here, I mean, he's generally had speed 8th in speed rank at this racetrack in the next gen era, which is better than all three of them by far. So the only reason to not take Preece in this, I mean, I like the number. I think that's a pretty decent number. But if you're scared of Gragson, I think you might be interested in that from the Gragson angle at plus 250, because you're still getting a pretty decent chunk there, if you don't believe in Preece. But Preece, I feel like his spectrum is going to be right in like that 14th to 20 range, and I think that could win this bet. So plus 350 is what I got it at on DraftKings Group D. So
Group D. Okay, awesome. Well, good information there. I see some people chatting about that. Mark, go ahead.
So I didn't realize this was a bad line until about 30 seconds ago. But it's Danny Suarez, top 10 Hard Rock Sportsbook, plus 425. It is now plus 190. I don't think that line moved. I think that was a bad line they put out. Regardless, we got down on it last night. It's just ridiculous. The only stat that I got for you is in 2 of the 4 Gen 7 races at Martinsville, Daniel Suarez had an average running position twice inside the top 10. 425, 50% hit rate. Finishes, not so much. Average running position, arguably more important. 2 out of the 4.
All Swedish, no finish. That's what we say.
Boom. Yeah, sure, whatever. Listen, we all know how this is going to go. There's going to be a timely caution. There's going to be, the Kyle Busch thing that happened last week that put, Mr. Rick Ware, Justin Haley in the back that screwed half the field. I mean, it 425 for a top 10 in a B tier equipment car. B- maybe, but still B. I mean, I'm not taking it at plus 190. I can promise you that. But plus 425, I'm in.
Well, I'll give you.
I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what to tell you here because you can't bet it.
Well, that's okay, but you did. So I'll give you two more things about that since you bet it. He started 2nd and 7th in 2022 and 2023 at this track, finishing just outside the top 10, but finishing inside the top 10 in both stages. So he was 4 for 4 in that regard. So I'm trying to wish you well here.
Thank you.
Is what I'm saying. Ryan, your turn.
I would like to mention I like Phil's
Please.
a lot there, and so does the Sim Center. We had Priest like fair at like plus 210 there. So that's a really good one. If we're talking straight value like that, value bet, our simulations really like the people that can get the over-unders. Ty Gibbs over 8.5 is plus 110, and we have that fair at minus 151. So I would take the Ty Gibbs over 8.5 as my best value bet if I could take those in New York. My backup would be one that I actually can bet. I haven't yet, but I'd lean Ricky Stenhouse on Caesars. He's in Group G at plus 400, and he would only have to beat Hocevar, Cindric, and LaJoy. And my true performance ranks, average on the short flats, have him kind of right with Hocevar, but beating Cindric and LaJoy pretty comfortably. So, and Stenhouse isn't, I think he has like one DNF here over his career, which is crazy to say out loud. I know they're typically like, I guess, cleaner races. It's not like it's a truck race here or anything, but he's been good. He's never wrecked out in the JTG car. Finished 8th and 19th here last year. Plus 400 in that group, I think is more than fair. Our sims have it fair around plus 220.
Okay. So you like that, Phil? Good call out. Ryan's giving you some props there for maybe cracking the code a bit. So I like it. I like it a lot. So let's move into the final thing here, and then we'll get out of here for tonight. And again, I appreciate everybody listening. We're gonna do our DK features. I threw these to the guys earlier. Hammond versus MTJ, Briscoe versus Gregson. We talked about those two at length. Bowman and Chastain. Phil, I'm gonna give you the floor first. Where are we going?
Oh man. I'm sorry. So it's Bowman and Chastain, Hamlin and Truex is a tough one. And then what was the other one?
And then the other one is Gregson and Briscoe. They're on the bottom, scrolling on the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, scrolling on the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I gotta go down with the ship there with Briscoe. So I'm going with Briscoe since I called him out on the pod, talked about him tonight. I think I'll roll with Chastain after what I heard tonight about Bowman. And for Hamlin and Truex, man, that's a tough one. But I think I'm scared off by MTJ's speed in the next gen car here, so I'm going to roll with Hamlin.
Okay, so Hamlin, Chastain, Briscoe. What about you, Mark?
This is the season-long punishment.
Yeah.
Okay, did we announce the punishment last week? Because I wasn't.
Where were you? Oh, so you didn't listen to the show? Is that what you're telling me? You didn't listen to last week's show, Mark? You didn't listen to last week's show? Well, I would have thought you did. I thought you would have respected the show at least a little bit to understand what we talked about. Go back and listen to it. Okay. I'm not going to say anything. Go back and listen to it.
All right. Well, yeah, I was going to be on all three that Phil was on, but when he said the first two, I'm like, all right, whatever he chooses in Hamlin Truex, I'm going the opposite. So I'm taking Truex at the plus money. It's the same explanation that I had earlier about Briscoe and Gregson. Like, if you're playing the number here, you take Gregson. If you're playing them head to head, you take Briscoe. It's that easy. So I'm taking Briscoe. And Bowman and Chastain, I literally want nothing to do with Bowman. He's entering fade territory for me this week. I don't love Chastain against him, but Bowman is right there on the fade train. So yeah, give me a little Chastain. Tino, I don't hate you, buddy. Some of us were just sleeping.
What about you? What about you, Ryan?
Well, I'll go Hamlin over MTJ, and I'll go Chastain over Bowman. But then I'll stay true to my guns here, and I'll pick Gregson over Briscoe.
Okay,
love it.
I'll go beyond the number play, and we'll put a punishment on the line.
Phil, before I share mine, you said you were going to throw a rapid fire at me.
Guess to end the show, man, you said Denny Hamlin or Caitlin Clark is the Denny Hamlin of women's basketball. Is that what you said? I just needed some clarification about what the hell that
said.
meant.
I said Caitlin Clark is the Denny Hamlin of NASCAR. Yeah. So I was also just trying to stir the pot a little bit.
What did you mean? I don't understand what that even means.
Dude, she's like, so
he's like the greatest NASCAR driver of all time. Like,
well, do you think she's the greatest basketball player of all time?
No,
I think Russell Westbrook is the Caitlin Clark of the NBA because he wears women's clothes to the games.
Okay, so that's good. All right, I like that, Ryan.
I just wanted an explanation. I saw that. I was like, what the hell does that mean?
My point was on Sunday when it mattered most, he came in, he was making a run towards it, and then got a great restart, was clutch, never let MTJ to get back to him. Caitlin Clark in the game, in the biggest game in WNBA, what is it, women's college basketball history, when needs it most, out there putting the ball behind her back, shooting it from half court, making everything. I was like, this chick is clutch. It's just look at what I just saw with Hamlin.
All right.
So that was my point. I was also trying to stir the pot, like I said, because there were like two really interesting topics going on X like all day. So I was like, let me get in the mix with both of them. So
I just needed you to clarify that. So I'm glad I asked.
If somebody could make me a Denny Hamlin pit shirt and a Caitlin Clark, like what is it? Halfway divided. What is it? House divided shirt, something like that. I would love that. So I would wear that. So I'm going to give my picks. This is why I'm leading this thing. So I'm going to go MTJ, Gregson, and I'm going to go Chastain as well. Bowman scares me a little bit. So you guys maybe sold me on that. But Chastain's not too far off from wondering, dude, if you didn't have Phoenix, where would you be? So
how are you leading when I didn't lose a single one last week and I was tied for the lead?
Well, guess what, Ryan? Catch up.
Boom, boomer.
Boom. Catch up. You got to listen to what I'm saying. All right. Phil, I'm going to let you break it down. Outros. Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This was another fun night. This is always a highlight of the week. So I appreciate everybody in the comments, chatting us up. And Derek, Ryan, Mark, it's always a fun time. So, yeah, you can catch me at Full Tank Phil, Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to try to put out some of those Caesar props breakdowns this week on Instagram, but having fun doing that every now and then because I like what I see. So give me a follow there, and Full Tank with Phil's name of the podcast. And we'll be doing trucks in a little bit here, Derek, on NASCAR Betting Preview Show. So everybody have a good week. Martinsville.
We have truck odds? I don't see any on Caesars yet. But
there
that's for
some.
Okay, good. Now I'm in. All right, I'm in. You sold me on that. Mark, I'm going to let you close us out here. How can everybody support you?
Baby Lancorn, you know what it do, dog. Go, everybody go get your Denny Hamlin 2024 championship future tickets in. Walk to the counter, thank me later. Lancorn will be out in about 3 hours. Audio only, YouTube Friday. And once again, sorry. I'm being selfish. I'm holding all of our t-shirts hostage. I will mail them out shortly. Next time we're doing this through website. We're not going to the Harris residence. We're going through website. So yeah, echo what Phil said. Love you guys. I still don't know what my punishment's going to be. I know for a fact I'm finishing last. So just if it's another watermelon, I'm ready.
Oh. Okay. Well, good. Well, then, yeah, you definitely didn't listen to last week's episode then. Did you get any black?
No.
Did you get any shirts that are black?
No, we haven't put it in the second order. It's coming.
Forget it.
It's coming.
All right. That's
coming.
What I want.
You just want to look slim, don't you?
I do. That's the only reason why I wear black. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you, guys. This was fun. Wintherace.info. You can find everything we do. Sim Center, DFS, betting, everything we got on there. Wintherace.info. Thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun. And thanks everyone for putting in the comments. That always makes it a lot more fun and interesting. And we get to talk about some more drivers. So that's cool.
Yeah, always a good time. Thanks everybody for listening. Appreciate Driven again. All the sunglasses. Make sure you go to drivensunglasses.com. Promo code FS20. Get 20% off at checkout. If you're listening on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe. It helps out our friends over at In Between Media, getting them to 1,000 subscribers. If you're listening on X, thank you as well. NASCAR Betting Preview Show, podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Triple header weekend. A lot to be talked about with Xfinity and trucks as well. So again, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Enjoy Martinsville, and we'll catch you next week as we head to Texas.